I mean, for some more analysis on this, I'm now joined by Calvin Dark, an international affairs analyst. Calvin, welcome to the program. Maybe you could start by giving us your thoughts on why some of these African countries are appearing on the ban in terms of why they were chosen. Because some would question, is this a situation where the majority from a country are being punished for the shortcomings or sins of the minority?
Thank you for having me. I think what you laid out in the introduction about the official reason from the executive order, visa overstays, lack of central authority that can provide information so the U.S. can vet potential immigrants, and then in some cases, a persistent problem with terrorism. I think that's the official reason. I think we also have to look at the political implications and the question, why some African countries and not others? First of all, I want to say that with Donald Trump, a lot of times we search for a strategy like we're playing chess when he just may be playing checkers. It may not be such a well thought out strategy. It could be, for example, some of the countries that you would expect to be on the list by that criteria, maybe they convinced the Trump administration before this ban that they were going to put things in place that would make them not suitable for the list. Maybe these are countries where Donald Trump didn't really see a benefit to America, so he's not worried about messing up relations with them, nor is he worried about, for example, there being a huge constituency in the U.S. to stand up for Somalia or Chad. We also have to think about the political implications. One, we know that from the first Trump ban, it was called a Muslim ban. And I think that if he had put all the African countries on the ban by the criteria he listed, he knows that it would have come across as just banning Africa. So I think that's why some weren't on there. And I want to throw one other possibility out. We know that Donald Trump is always looking for political gain. We know that Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman who is always a target of Donald Trump, is Somali American. And we know that she has been a target for a lot of the MAGA Trump supporters. So with Somalia being on the list, I fully expect for those MAGA supporters to then use that to impugn her and her work as a United States Congresswoman. So all of those factors potentially go into that calculation.
And of course, there's been a reaction from, at least from Chad, who this afternoon announced that they will suspend visa issuance for U.S. citizens. Is such a reciprocal approach effective, in your view?
No, absolutely not. I understand the principle behind it, but we have to remember who we're dealing with. Donald Trump takes everything personally. And it's one thing to be on a list of banned countries where there's an opportunity to get off that list if you address Trump's concerns. But if you attack the United States, and Donald Trump would see that as an attack, you get on his permanent enemies list, which ask Zelensky how that feels.
Okay. So what does it take to get off this list? If countries are now sitting kind of reviewing what can they do, what options do they have?
Well, I think that they have to take a two-track approach. One is to actually address the concerns that were laid out in the executive order. And I do have to say that compared with the way that it was done in the first Trump administration, I was reading the order, I think it's like 14 pages. It details for every country the issues that the administration pointed out. So I think the first track, countries should address those issues. The second track, they should address the political issues. And by that, I mean, get out in front of it, get on the news. Say, for example, we are working with the Trump administration. We have made these reforms. Now it's time for country X to get off of that list. I think that it will take both of those types of pressure to actually remove any of these countries on the list or stop future countries from being added.
I mean, in the geopolitical setup, who stands to benefit from the U.S. government's off-limits approach to visitors and migrants?
I've yet to figure that one out. I think that for the short term, it satisfies a lot of Donald Trump's base that really has no interest in good relations with the world, particularly Black and brown countries. But I think that what we've seen since January is going to have a negative effect on America's reputation around the world long after Donald Trump is out of the White House. And I think that is the real message behind this travel ban, not security, but why does the United States under Donald Trump feel that our relationships with the world aren't valuable and don't matter?
Well, thank you so much for giving us your perspective, Calvin Dark, an international affairs analyst, joining us on the program.